Welcome back to the workshop. Well, by hook or by crook, this is going to be the last one in this series on the fixture table, so I'll have a quick recap on what I've done since the last episode, which was a few days ago. Things didn't turn out quite right or as well as I'd hoped, so I've had to have a bit of a rethink. At the end of the last episode I said that I was going to number stamp the mounts and the plates so they got the orientation right. Well, I did that, actually letter printed, stamped, but nevertheless that was done. Loctited the dowels and the mounts to the plate, underside of the plate, took it over to the mill, and wouldn't you know it, just wouldn't sit down straight. So I let the Loctite set, and I've had a bit of a rethink and a rethink of a rethink and further rethinks of those rethinks, and I think I've probably come up with a plan to sort the problem out. I'll take you over to the bench now and explain what I'm going to do. Here we are then at the bench. What we have is the underside of the fixture plate, the mountings all doweled and Loctited to the fixture plate itself. I know from my previous attempts that the dowel holes and the mounting faces were in line. So what I'm going to do is, as before, mount two parallels between these lines of dowels, put a expanding parallel in between to hold them steady. Then I'm going to mount the whole thing on the surface grinder and check it for parallelism along the side of the this parallel. And then I'm going to grind the edges of this and this, which is the rearmost mounts, parallel to that, taking off a minute smidgen on that side. Now I've come to realise that if I was mounting a vise on the mill and using a similar sort of alignment arrangement, I would only have one piece of metal across there to slip into the mill slots, and these are actually superfluous. Now I can either grind off or mill off rather the excess that's standing up, but what I'm actually going to do is to grind them, the edges, such that they will fit in the slots easily. These will be a cosy fit, shall we say, and that way these will locate in the mill slots and these will just will be superfluous to that. Before I take it off the surface grinder though, I shall grind these mating surfaces all to the same height, and then afterwards flip it over, mount it on the mill, and hopefully, if I've got enough room, fly cut the top surface so that it's parallel to these. That's the plan. I'm going to do all the grinding off camera because that's like watching paint dry, and it's probably a bit too cold to paint, so I'm going to do the grinding, as I say, off camera, and I'll bring you back when that's finished. I just thought I'd show you a quick shot of the setup on the grinder. Two parallels are fixed against the dowels here, and the adjustable parallel is in between, keeping them forcibly apart. though not too forcibly. I've spent far too long tapping and getting the run out just about straight. The magnetic vice is in the on position, and with my third and fourth hands I'm going to try and get a shot of the dial as I traverse the carriage of the grinder. There we are. It's hardly moving at all. I'll try and cut that into the shot, but I'm not very good at that part of editing, so we'll see how it goes. Here's the finished grinding. As you can see, the seats all ground to the same height, and hopefully that's going to fit well on the mill. I'll take it over there now and try it. There we are then, back of the mill. And I'll just check that far. Tut. And well, there we go, keep fingers crossed. Oh, silky smooth. Wow. Pleased with that. I just hope it's all lined up straight. Check that out later. Now I'm going to take these bolts out, drill through with the clearance drill, and see if I've got any 8mm T-nuts to go in underneath to hold it in. Good, but that bit's done. Tea time! With the fixture plate clamped down onto the mill table and held securely by on the mounts, I used the previously shown setup with 2 parallels and the adjustable parallels holding them against dowel pins to check the tram. In fact, it was a little out, and I had to tap it one way or t'other to get it running straight, so I think that's probably going to have to be the way I set it up each time it's used. The DTI, as you can see, is set to 0. I'll just run the table to the right, and if I zoom in on the DTI, you should be able to see it deflecting very little, if at all, and yes, it is in contact with the parallel, because when we get to the end, just about here, it starts to wander off. So each division is half a thou. So that's half a thou in what, 4 inches or half a thou. I haven't got a metric DTI. It's coming up to 3/4. I think that says more about the parallel than it does about the setup of the table, because it gets to about there. It runs parallel all the way through to the far end. That's just about in line with the dowel. So I'm happy with that. I'm now going to put the fly cutter in and fly cut the top face. I think I'll probably be only able to do about 75mm, 3 inches in one span. Then I'll move it across and do the other. I doubt this will reach to the you can't see what I'm pointing at, can you? I'll try that again. I think I'll only be able to fly cut about 3 inches, maybe 75mm. Move it over and do another pass. I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to get back far enough against the column to be able to do the last one, so I may have to turn it around, retram it in this way and do the final pass on that, but we'll see. Okay, that's it for now. I'll break this down and put the fly cutter in and maybe take a few cuts. I've got the fly cutter mounted. It's got a brand new tip in the, I'm using an indexable lathe tool in it, and I'm set up to get the maximum I can with that throw. I don't want to extend it anymore because I don't want to put too much strain on it. So we'll see how it goes. This is my first time cutting this, and it'll be your first time seeing it as well, so we're both in for a treat. A bit of an experiment with feeds and speeds, but let's see how we get on. Tailor's going to go that way. And take it slowly to start with. There we go. Could take a while, so as soon as we get up to about here, I suppose I'll fast forward it or cut to the end and we'll get some idea of how we're getting on. Finish doesn't look too brilliant at the moment. Maybe when this is done I'll take it over to the surface grinder and do a final cut on that. Up the speed a bit. Not brilliant. Coming to the end of the first run now, and I'm thinking that as it traverses the holes and threads, it's setting up vibration in the spindle, and that's what's causing the poor surface finish. I can't think of a way around that, so I think I will probably just do a light grind on the surface grinder when this is all done. As I've progressed along the cut, I've increased the spindle speed and also the feed rate of the table. I would estimate that the spindle speed is around 700, maybe 750 RPM. No idea what the feed rate is. Halfway through the second run, and put a bit of cutting oil on. Seems to have improved the surface finish a little. I'm reluctant to put the fingers anywhere near the cutter, so I'll just let it go and give it a wipe down afterwards and see what it looks like. That's the first two runs finished. I've given it a quick wipe down, but only with a paper towel. I can feel a slight ridge there with my fingernail. If I zoom you in, the mill scale has filled in the grooves. There you can see where it's, to the touch it's obviously not smooth. It's smooth there, but for some reason, like I say, probably as I went over the holes, it's causing the tool to judder just a bit. And there, particularly a bit further on, here you can see it's somewhat more grooved. Not happy with that finish, and I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to stick it on the grinder okay, but we'll carry on. I'll turn it around, do the last bit and get the mill scale off with at least with this setting, and see how it progresses from there. Well, you don't know how lucky you are. I've just spent a good 2 hours or more on the surface grinder getting all the blemishes out of this top surface, and they say the camera doesn't lie, but by golly, it don't half flatter. I'll bring you in a bit closer, and the surface finish is flat, but to the eye, I don't know whether you can probably make out the fish scale effect. I don't know why it's doing that. Maybe it's the one phase motor, slightly out of balance wheel, I don't know. Certainly not wonky bearings, because it's a brand new, good as brand new surface grinder. But there we are. I've done as much as I need, and quite honestly as much as I want to on this. I haven't trimmed up the edges. That will purely be cosmetic and not worthy of my time, I don't think. But there we are, it's finished. The video's finished. If you have been, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.